Building a peaceful home with patience and love. What if I told you that the most dangerous battles don't happen on battlefields, but inside our very homes? Not with guns or weapons, but with words, with silence, with impatience. Now, pause for a moment. Think about this. The place meant to be our safest shelter can sometimes become the place where hearts feel the most broken. But here's the secret. It doesn't have to be that way. Every home has an atmosphere. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but you feel it the moment you walk in. Is it filled with warmth, or is it heavy with tension? Here's the truth: patience and love are not decorations we hang on the wall. They're the bricks and mortar of a peaceful home. Without them, everything eventually cracks. The greatest battles often happen inside homes, not on battlefields. Every home carries an atmosphere. Peace is built through patience and love. Small reactions, like handling a child's mistake, shape the spirit of the household. Patience is strength under control. Love is a daily choice, not just a feeling. A home is like a garden. Patience is the soil, love is the water, peace is the harvest. Choosing patience and love makes your home not ordinary, but a sanctuary. The greatest battles often happen inside homes, not on battlefields. Strange, isn't it? We expect war to look like soldiers clashing, explosions, and broken cities. Yet, in reality, some of the deepest wounds are inflicted not by bullets, but by words whispered in anger. A slammed door can be as loud as a cannon when it echoes in the heart of someone you love. A cold silence at the dinner table can feel like a wall higher than any fortress. And while the world outside may never see the bruises left by impatience, criticism, or neglect, those invisible scars often last far longer than any physical injury. Imagine a family sitting at a table. Dinner is served. The food is hot, the house is warm, but the air is heavy. No one talks. Eyes avoid each other. There's no shouting, no dramatic fight, but the silence itself screams. In that moment, the home, supposed to be the safest place in the world, feels like the most dangerous battlefield. Not because there are weapons, but because there is distance, because the people who should feel closest feel miles apart. A friend once told me, "I'd rather fight the whole world than fight inside my own house." He was right, because when the world rejects you but your home embraces you, you can still stand strong. But when the world applauds you and your home rejects you, even victory feels empty. The truth is, every raised voice, every harsh word, every impatient sigh is like a soldier firing shots in a war that nobody wanted, yet everybody feels. And the saddest part, sometimes we fight these wars without even realizing it. Think about a father who comes home exhausted, burdened by the weight of his day. His child runs to him with excitement, desperate to share a drawing, a story, a moment of connection. But instead of patience, the father offers a quick dismissal. "Not now, I'm tired." To him, it's just a small brush off. But to the child, it feels like rejection. The child learns, "My joy is too heavy for you. My voice doesn't matter." That tiny battle, unnoticed in the moment, leaves a mark that echoes for years. Or picture a spouse waiting with anticipation to share something meaningful, maybe even a dream. And the response they get, distracted nods, eyes fixed on a phone, a hurried, "We'll talk later." That battlefield doesn't involve shouting. It involves absence, neglect. The kind of conflict where nothing explodes, but everything quietly dies. We often think peace means no arguments, no noise, no visible conflict. But peace at home is so much more than the absence of war. It's the presence of safety. It's knowing that when you walk through the door, you won't have to put on armor. It's being certain that your mistakes won't be weaponized and your weaknesses won't be ridiculed. So the real question is not how do we avoid conflict, but what kind of battles are we unconsciously fighting inside our homes every day? Because the truth is, the fiercest wars aren't waged with fists. They're waged with impatience, with indifference, with a lack of love. And if we're not careful, the home, our most sacred place, becomes the very battlefield that drains us instead of the refuge that restores us. Every home carries an atmosphere. You can't see it and you can't touch it, but the moment you step inside, you feel it deep in your bones. It's almost like walking into a room filled with music. You may not recognize the song, but you can't ignore the rhythm. Some homes hum with warmth and laughter, where even silence feels comforting, like a soft blanket wrapping around you. Others feel heavy, as if the very walls hold on to unspoken tension, like air that hasn't been breathed in too long. That atmosphere is not an accident. It is created day by day in the way we speak, the way we listen, the way we react when life doesn't go as planned. Think of the last time you visited a friend's house and immediately noticed something in the air. Maybe you walked in and felt joy, kids giggling in the living room, a parent humming while cooking, a playful conversation floating around. It wasn't about how expensive the furniture was or whether the house was spotless. It was about the invisible atmosphere of acceptance and patience, a place where mistakes didn't matter as much as love did. On the other hand, maybe you've entered a house where everything looked perfect. The decor magazine, worthy, the table neatly set, but the silence was stiff, the smiles forced, the energy sharp. You couldn't explain it, but you wanted to leave. That is the power of atmosphere. There's a story of a young man who said, "When I was a child, I dreaded going home more than going to school." Imagine that. School, with all its pressures, felt easier than stepping into his own living room. Why? Because at school, mistakes were corrected, but at home, mistakes were condemned. The atmosphere was filled with criticism, impatience, and cold distance. He said he could remember the sound of footsteps in the hallway and knowing instantly what kind of night it would be. Isn't it striking how a single person's tone, a single person's mood, can dictate the climate of an entire household? And it works both ways. There are parents who, despite their struggles, decide that their home will be a sanctuary. Even when money is tight, even when work is overwhelming, they choose patience over shouting, gentleness over irritation. A mother might sit at the table, listening to a child explain a story that makes no sense, nodding with interest because she knows the atmosphere she's creating is one where her child feels valued. A father might bite back frustration when a glass shatters on the floor, choosing instead to smile and say, "We'll clean it up together." Those small choices are invisible bricks, stacking up to build a home where peace can live. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. The words you speak are like incense, filling the air with a fragrance, either sweet or bitter. The patience you show, even in the smallest interruptions, is like oxygen, allowing everyone to breathe freely. And the love you extend, especially when it feels undeserved, becomes the very foundation of an atmosphere where people want to stay, where people want to return, where people finally feel at home. Have you ever noticed how the smallest reactions can shape the spirit of an entire household? One moment, one choice, one response, so tiny it feels unimportant, can ripple through the walls of a home and define the way people feel about themselves and about each other. It's not the grand gestures that hold a family together nearly as much as the little things, the everyday moments when patience or impatience, love or frustration spills out of us. Those moments might look ordinary on the surface, but they are quietly deciding what kind of home we are building. Picture a child running into the kitchen, a cup wobbling in their tiny hands. Suddenly, the drink splashes onto the floor. A puddle spreads sticky and messy, a clear interruption in the rhythm of the day. Now, this moment doesn't seem like much, a spilled drink, a minor inconvenience. But what happens next is everything. If impatience bursts out, if a parent shouts, "Why can't you be more careful?" or sighs loudly while angrily grabbing a mop, that child learns something deeper than just, "I made a mess." They learn, mistakes are dangerous. They learn, "I am a burden." But if instead the parent breathes, smiles gently, and says, "It's okay, accidents happen. Let's clean it up together," the child learns something else entirely. They learn love is bigger than mistakes. They learn I am safe even when I mess up. That's not just about juice. It's about identity. It's about trust. And it's about planting seeds of peace that last far longer than the stain on the floor. Or think about a husband and wife at the end of a long day. One is tired, the other frustrated, both carrying invisible battles from work, traffic bills, deadlines. A careless word slips out, a sharp tone, a hint of sarcasm. In that split second, there is a choice: retaliate with equal sharpness or pause and respond with patience. If the sharpness continues, the evening spirals. Silence hardens into distance. But if one person breathes, softens their voice, and says, "I know you're tired. Let's talk after you've rested," suddenly the atmosphere shifts. It's not about winning an argument. It's about protecting the peace. The truth is, the culture of a home is not built in the big moments. It's built in these small, seemingly forgettable ones. The way you greet someone at the door, the way you respond when plans change, the way you look at your spouse when they say something clumsy. These little decisions are the bricks. Over time, they create a wall of either security or fear, a roof of either comfort or tension. One man once told me, "My father never raised his hand at me, but his sighs were louder than any slap." Can you feel the weight of that? Even a sigh, even a roll of the eyes, can teach a child or a partner how much or how little they matter. On the other hand, a smile, a calm word, a gentle "it's okay" has the power to disarm anger and remind someone they are safe. So the spirit of a household doesn't come from the big speeches or the expensive gifts. It comes from the small reactions multiplied daily until they form a pattern. And that pattern, whether of patience or of impatience, of love or of neglect, is what decides whether your home feels like a battlefield or a sanctuary. Patience is not weakness. It's one of the strongest forms of power a human being can carry. Anyone can lash out when they're frustrated. Anyone can slam a door, raise their voice, or deliver words like knives. That takes no skill, no strength, no discipline. But patience, true patience, is choosing to hold your ground when every part of you wants to explode. It's taking a breath instead of taking a swing. It's speaking gently when anger is burning hot inside your chest. That is not weakness. That is power under control. Think about it like this. A storm can destroy a tree in minutes, but roots that have learned to hold firm through the seasons can survive the fiercest winds. Patience is like those roots. It anchors you when life tries to uproot you. In a home, patience is the difference between chaos and calm. Without it, every small problem becomes a battle. With it, even the biggest problems can be faced with dignity. I once heard a mother say, "The hardest thing I've ever done is count to 10 while my child screamed in my face." She laughed as she said it, but behind her laugh was wisdom. That moment of choosing to pause, to wait before reacting, saved her from saying words she could never take back. That is patience in action. Not passive silence, but an intentional pause that changes everything. Her child didn't just see her self-control, they felt her love. And it's not just between parents and children. Imagine two partners in the middle of a heated disagreement. One interrupts, the other interrupts louder, both voices climbing higher like waves in a storm. Suddenly, one of them stops. They don't stop because they've lost the argument. They stop because they value the relationship more than the need to be right. They choose to listen instead of shout. That moment of restraint is not weakness. It's love wearing the armor of patience. There's an old saying, patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. Anyone who has tried to hold back a sharp word knows how bitter patience can feel in the moment. It tastes like swallowing pride. It feels like surrender. But later, when the storm has passed and peace remains, the fruit is undeniable. No slammed doors, no broken trust, no words that scarred forever. Just peace, still standing, because patience held the walls together. What's remarkable is how contagious patience can be. A calm response can melt anger like ice under the sun. A soft voice can lower the volume of an entire room. Children learn it by watching parents. Spouses learn it by receiving it from each other. Even guests can walk into a home and feel the patience woven into the atmosphere like a gentle rhythm that says, "Here you are safe. Here you are understood." So patience isn't passive, it isn't weak. It's the hidden strength that allows love to survive the test of daily life. It's what transforms ordinary moments of irritation into extraordinary opportunities for peace. And when patience lives in a home, love has the chance to grow roots deep enough to last a lifetime. Love is not just a feeling, it's a daily choice. Feelings rise and fall like waves on the ocean, but choice is the anchor that keeps everything steady when the waters get rough. In a home, love is not proven by the words whispered in easy moments, it's proven by the actions taken in the hard ones. Anyone can say, "I love you," when the mood is light and everything feels perfect, but real love is tested in the interruptions, in the disappointments, in the moments when you feel like giving up, but choose to stay. Think about a couple who have been married for years. In the beginning, love felt effortless. Butterflies, late night calls, flowers, surprises. But years later, life has piled on bills, children, careers, stress. The butterflies have flown, the flowers wilted, the calls replaced by schedules and reminders. And yet every day, the choice remains, will I show up with love? Will I choose kindness over irritation? Will I choose forgiveness over resentment? Love in its truest form is not about keeping the fire of feelings alive. It's about fueling the fire with choices that say, "I am here, no matter what." I once heard a woman describe her parents' marriage. She said, "They fought, they disagreed, but every morning, my dad would make my mom a cup of tea. Even on the worst days, even after arguments." That was his way of saying, "I choose you again today." It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't a grand speech. It was simple, steady, and powerful. That's love as a choice, practiced daily until it becomes the language of the home. And it extends beyond couples. Parents show love not only when they hug their children, but when they listen to long, rambling stories that make no sense. They show love when they forgive quickly after a slammed door or a disrespectful word, teaching their children that mistakes don't make them unlovable. Children, too, show love when they help without being asked. When they say, "Thank you," when they notice the sacrifices their parents make. Siblings show love when they choose to share, even when they don't want to, or when they protect each other instead of competing. Love in a home is built on these choices, small, ordinary, but consistent. Love is also the courage to forgive when it feels undeserved. Every home has moments of hurt, words spoken that cut deeper than intended. In those moments, bitterness whispers, "Hold on to the grudge, make them pay." But love whispers louder, "Let it go. Protect the bond." Choosing love means valuing the relationship more than the offense. It means saying, "You hurt me, but I refuse to let this wound define us." That kind of love is not weakness. It is strength strong enough to break cycles of resentment. Love is not just the soft smile. It's also the hard work. It is the steady hand that wipes away tears, the voice that calms storms, the presence that says, "I'm with you, even when you're at your worst." It is patience wrapped in tenderness, forgiveness stitched into every word, and faith that tomorrow can always be better. And when love is chosen daily, not only spoken but lived, it becomes the heartbeat of the home, strong enough to keep peace alive through every season. A home is like a garden. Everything you do, everything you say, is either planting seeds or pulling them out by the root. Patience is the soil. It gives space for roots to grow deep, steady, and unshaken. Love is the water. It nourishes, refreshes, and keeps life flowing. And peace is the harvest, the sweet fruit you get to enjoy when both soil and water are present. But just like any garden, it doesn't grow by accident. It grows by intention, by daily care, by choosing to nurture instead of neglect. Imagine standing in a backyard full of weeds. It didn't happen overnight. Nobody planted them on purpose. They just showed up because nobody paid attention. Nobody pulled them out. Nobody watered the right plants. That's what happens in a home when impatience and neglect take over. The weeds of resentment, anger, and distance grow silently. One day you wake up and wonder why joy feels so far away, why conversations feel forced, why peace feels impossible. But the truth is, peace was always possible. It just wasn't watered. I once heard a father say, "I realized I was spending more time yelling at my kids for not cleaning their room than I was laughing with them." That hit me. Because what he was really saying was, I was pulling at weeds instead of watering the flowers. He chose to change. He started spending time playing, talking, connecting. The rooms didn't magically become spotless, but the atmosphere shifted. The laughter returned. The garden began to bloom again. Think about how different a family feels when love is poured out like water. A spouse comes home exhausted, worn thin by the day. Instead of sharp words, "You're late again," they're greeted with a smile, a gentle, "I'm glad you're home." That moment is water. That moment nourishes more than food on the table ever could. Or picture siblings fighting over something small. One takes a breath, chooses patience, and says, "Fine, you can go first." That small act is soil. It makes space for peace to grow. These little choices, repeated daily, create a garden where people flourish. And here's the thing, peace is not the absence of noise. It's not the quietness of everyone hiding in their own rooms, pretending nothing is wrong. Peace is the sound of laughter after tears, the comfort of forgiveness after a mistake, the stillness of knowing you are safe with the people around you. It is harmony, not silence. And harmony, like music, only happens when each note, each person, decides to blend instead of compete. The beauty of treating a home like a garden is that it reminds us that growth takes time. You don't plant a seed today and eat fruit tomorrow. It takes watering, patience, waiting. Some days it feels like nothing is happening. But then one morning, you notice a sprout pushing through the soil, fragile yet determined. That's what happens in families too. The little choices, one kind word, one act of patience, one apology, begin to grow into something lasting. And with enough care, enough love, enough consistency, the weeds fade and the flowers remain. A home full of patience and love doesn't happen by chance. It happens the same way a garden flourishes. By daily tending, by refusing to give up when it feels slow, by believing that what you plant today will bloom tomorrow. And when it blooms, the harvest is peace. Peace that fills the air, peace that heals wounds, peace that makes a house not just a shelter, but a sanctuary. So here's the truth. Peace in your home will not arrive by accident. It will not fall from the sky. It will not walk through your door uninvited. Peace is built, brick by brick, choice by choice, word by word. If you choose patience, you build. If you choose love, you build. If you choose forgiveness, you build. And if you don't choose, if you delay, if you ignore, then impatience will take root, bitterness will grow, and the garden of your home will be overrun. That's why the time is now. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Your family is waiting for you to set the tone. Your children are waiting to see how love responds to mistakes. Your spouse is waiting to feel the safety of your patience. Your home is waiting to become the sanctuary it was always meant to be. So I ask you tonight, what will you choose? More battles or more peace? More wounds or more healing? More walls or more doors that open into love? The future of your home is not written in stone. It is written in the choices you make today. And if you choose patience when it's hardest, if you choose love when it feels undeserved, you will not just create peace. You will create legacy. Because long after the arguments are forgotten, long after the mistakes fade, what your family will remember is how you made them feel safe, loved, cherished. So let us leave here with this vow: no more waiting, no more wasting, no more warring within our walls. Let us build, let us plant, let us water, let us choose patience, let us choose love, let us choose peace. Because a house is made of walls and roofs, but a home is made of patience and love. And the question that will echo in your heart long after tonight is this: what kind of home are you building?